reviews. Hi guys, it's Ransom Reviews. I hope you're doing well, and don't be alarmed, this is a temporary backdrop for the majority of videos. It's still film related. You can see a poster for The Killer over there, you can see Hellboy, you can see the bottom of a Blade Runner one, but you can also see my microwave. But it's just for the convenience of these types of videos that I'm going to be starting today. And it's going to be, as you can already tell, pretty much completely unscripted. And I'm going to call it Ransom Rambles because my last name is Ransom, so it's very clever. Basically, these types of videos are going to be more sort of discussion, reaction, like, I want to say walkthrough videos, but basically on topics that I'm interested in, but either like missed the initial, wave of excitement and hype for, and also just the fact that there's far more talented and well-versed and experienced, editors and reviewers and scriptwriters that have already covered these topics in far better, more fashion than I could probably do. Definitely. So I just thought I would do basically we're going to be going step by step through the Avengers Doomsday trailer, not stopping every second, but just through the trailer, and I'm just going to give you my thoughts on it and some talking points on it, and yeah, just a more casual kind of video. So, being 28 years old, for me and a lot of other people, this franchise was at its absolute peak, sort of between 2008 through to 2019 really, just when Endgame wrapped up. That was where the most excitement was, that was where the most investment was, and there were some wobbly patches throughout that period, but there was some also, all-time greats, and there are films in there that I still, are classed as some of my all-time favorites. The first Guardians of the Galaxy film, Captain America Winter Soldier, Captain America Civil War, Infinity War, the first Avengers movie. I know people are a bit wobbly on that, but I absolutely adore that first Avengers film. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, there's a load of fun entries here, and films that I have a lot of love and nostalgia for. Post Endgame, and not to sound like a broken record, it has been a bit more of a wobbly streak. I'm a huge fan of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I loved Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I had some fun with the TV series like WandaVision and Marvel Zombies, and I haven't watched the second season, but I liked the first season of Loki. Werewolf by Night, the one shot was fun. The Daredevil Born Again Season 2 has been really good. So there's been some highlights, but there's been a lot of stuff that I just really have no interest in, and the idea of rewatching just seems kind of exhausting. So the trailer for this dropped on Monday this past week, and I was actually on my lunch break when it came out, so I sort of was watching it on the walk back. Unfortunately, not to start off on an immediately negative note, unfortunately it is the trailer that is exactly the same as what was shown at CinemaCon a couple of months ago, which the whole description was just all over online. So it wasn't really a massive surprise to see a lot of this stuff. Purely just from the visual standpoint, it pretty much exactly what I thought it was going to look like. But the internet has gone absolutely berserk in terms of the views it's had. I think it's like the second most viewed trailer of all time in 24 hours, only to be beaten by Brand New Day, which is wild, and also out next week. I'm looking forward to that. I think the trailers for that have been kind of like exciting switch up. I'm still intrigued to see what exactly is going to be going on in that film, because it feels like there's a lot of elements. But anyway, that's a discussion for another time. Doomsday is it's a film that I can't believe is actually happening, but at the same time, I really wish I was more excited for. So let's go through the trailer. I'm going to be stopping it ever so often just to discuss on certain points. Let's go through the trailer, and yeah, I'll give you some feedback on what I'm thinking on it. So in 3, 2, 1. Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters. 25 years worth of X-Men. 26. And there's Charles about to die for the 58th time on the big screen. Now, I just want to say straight up that I really like the look of the interior of the X-Mansion in this trailer. I'm going to pause it right here on this shot. Now, Doctor Doom, you can obviously hear his voice a bit underneath mine. Firstly, I'm absolutely glad that Robert Downey Jr. is not just sounding like Robert Downey Jr. It's actually, he's putting on the accent. I still think there are so many better choices you could have picked for Doctor Doom, but we're all wondering how it's going to turn out in terms of when he eventually reveals his face to the Avengers. But, you know, just gonna linger on this shot a bit. In terms of Doom's armor and the hood and the nose already, you can tell straight away that it's gonna be incredibly faithful to the comic book look, which, you know, I'm all on board for.
Should be faced with an unthinkable decision.
And what decision is that gonna be?
I've fought with many warriors in my time. You're far stronger.
Now, just going to pause on that shot as well. There's been a lot of criticism about this shot, and it is understandable. It is just a bunch of people stood in the room with no structure or stylistic flair or any sort of, you know, interesting framing. I'm looking at you, Reed Richards, because he just looks kind of gormless, and the Thing looks like he's just sort of about to start floating off the step. It's really bizarre. I know there's obviously the fact that probably quite a lot of these people weren't in the same room at the same time filming this. I know that's a common criticism for Marvel, but I don't want to sound, again, like a broken record, but this lineup right here just does nothing for me in terms of real excitement. I liked Fantastic Four First Steps. I thought it was really solid, and I love the retro aesthetic, and they are clearly the most vibrant costumes on the set here. Thunderbolts, I know a lot of people love. I think it was very solid. Do I think it's like top tier Marvel? Not really. Love Florence Pugh as Yelena, she's great. And, you know, the team dynamic was decent, but really as the core element of an Avengers movie, like, it just doesn't get me buzzed at all. Ant-Man I like, and Anthony Mackie as Captain America has been done dirty, unfortunately, by the studio. You know, Brave New World was rubbish. I didn't mind Falcon Winter Soldier, but really, you know, it's just a shame he's being completely overshadowed in this by the original Captain America. And lastly, you know, I'm happy that Thor's back to his Infinity War look.
Then all of us put together, and they died.
A lot of hyping up Doom this. Namor, Shuri, Chewbacca. I didn't really love Black Panther 2. I thought it was fine. Don't care about Namor.
Than this one.
I'm gonna pause that again. I paused it on a cool last shot of Cyclops. But the bit before that, which I'm just gonna drag back to, the look of Thor arriving back in, which looks to be the ruins of the X-Mansion, just kind of looks like the Endgame battleground. Again, criticism of Marvel CGI is not new. It just looks kind of just sludgy and dark and not very visually interesting. Sure, it's probably been obliterated by Doom, but inspire sort of any kind of visual, real creativity and stuff. I just look at it and think that's clearly all digital around you. Play it again.
Far less than this one.
That's a decent shot of Doom. Practical explosion there. Pause it again. Very happy to see Cyclops in his animated series outfit. I loved the original X-Men cartoon growing up. I really need to get back on X-Men 97, particularly as I keep hearing how great the rest of it is and the second season. So I will get on that. But it's cool seeing Cyclops in his original gear. I'm just still very interested to see how the original X-Men play into this, and also the lineup is pretty ropey. Anyway, carry on. Gambit and Shang-Chi, didn't really love Shang-Chi's film, but Gambit, I kind of love the fact he's just a one-off joke. I'm going to pause that on Loki and just rewind. Gambit, yeah, being a one-off joke in Deadpool and Wolverine and then mainlining in an Avengers film is kind of hilarious. I get the sense Loki's not going to be in this very much. I think he's getting wiped out pretty soon in it, to be honest with you. Particularly judging by the sort of look on his face here and the theories that are going around. And also, you know, I love Tom Hiddleston as Loki, but I think his time as the character is kind of like, it's good to wrap it up now. And it would definitely hit the higher emotional stakes for people if they killed Loki off in this. Carry on. There's Wakandan Ocean, I believe it's going to be in. Yeah, just not really buzzed to see really any of these characters. I know I'm buzzed to see them, but I just, like, the idea of them interacting does not excite me, you know what I mean? Which is a real shame. I just don't have that investment in them. One, because a lot of them we've only really seen them once or maybe twice at a stretch, or even like a bit more for Yelena in terms of appearances. But, you know, I love, as I say, I love Florence Pugh in this role, and she's easily one of the highlights. But the idea of her seeing Mystique, it's not a thrilling prospect to me. But yeah. Old McKellen, old Stewart. Look, now, let me stop here. This is where the hypocrisy of me is a little bit onto, because some of the nostalgia baiting is so obvious on those, but god damn, like, of course, seeing Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen interacting, and it's probably, I say it's the last time we're going to see them, but Patrick Stewart said that about 4 times, and he keeps appearing as Professor X. But this time maybe is the definitive ending of them. But they're both legends, and these characters are fantastic. And of course, it's cool seeing them within this particular universe. Just let that car go past. Anyway, continue.
You return.
Ant-Man's daughter, Johnny clearly holding, I think, either Franklin or Vanessa Kirby. Good shot of Cyclops. Don't care about Namor really. But stop that on Doom there, stopping Thor with his hammer launch, axe launch even. Obviously this is here to establish that Doom is incredibly menacing and strong threat. And it's a pretty cool shot. Sure, it's just absolutely aping the Infinity War. Like, you should have gone for the head. It's just all that shot. It's a cool shot, but all it makes me think of is, oh, do you remember when I saw that in a bed, when I really was excited for these? Yeah, I don't know. I know people like there's not been enough setup for Doom, and I do agree with that. And also, I don't want to know the whole film before it comes out and stuff. And people are like, this isn't telling me enough. This isn't telling me enough. But there really is not enough substance here for me fully to get locked into why Doom is such a huge threat. I'm sure we're probably going to find out in this film, but is it going to be enough to dramatically lock into it? I don't know. It's a cool shot of his face, at least. I think it's actually Downey in the outfit. We're going to need a miracle. I'm going to pause on said miracle.
It's not possible.
Now, this shot here is getting a load of, well, I say a load of people. I've seen a lot of comments saying, oh, it's so great to see this again. This is like bringing back the old days vibes and, 2 flagship figures of the series. It just does nothing for me, man. Like, one, it's not been long enough for Evans to go. It's been 7 years since Endgame. It's just not long enough. Also, he doesn't really look like Captain America in it. That could easily be his character from Red 1 or whatever that film was. Whatever that film was, it's Red 1. Anyway, it's just him and his casual civvies. And, fair enough. Apparently that, it's a different version of Steve Rogers. The multiverse just makes it so confusing and so many options available now of what it's going to be. Probably is just going to be the original Captain America Steve Rogers, going to piss people off. But, it might be a cool spin if it's a different variant of some regard, but I don't know, just does not really get me that excited, in all honesty, which, is a shame. But yeah, I just feel nothing seeing that shot of him getting the hammer back. And then Doomsday logo. I like the slowed down, slightly altered theme, which is quite cool. Yeah, Doomsday is coming. And I'm not going to see it in Infinity Vision. Well, I guess I am. I'm still not 100% sure what Infinity Vision is, but I'm going to see it on a big screen, probably at my local in the Dolby Digital screen, so I guess that's Infinity Vision enough. So yeah, that's some rambling thoughts on the trailer. Of course, look, it's full cynicism. Of course, I'm going to be there opening weekend, and I know that's part of the problem. But it won't be opening day because that will be Dune Part 3 day, hopefully in glorious 70mm IMAX, because I'm one of those people. But yeah, Doomsday is coming. I think parts of it look fine and pretty cool. I think a lot of it doesn't really excite me too much, which makes me a little bit sad. So thanks for watching the video, guys. Let me know in the comments below if you like this sort of rambling style of video. Let me know if you didn't like it either. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, it means a lot. And if you're feeling extra generous, hit the subscribe button. And I'll see you again soon on the next one. Cheers.